Hello, faithful, and welcome to White Throne Metal Radio's Top 10 Songs. I am your host, Keven Crothers, station manager for White Throne Metal Radio, the Throne Room podcast, staff writer for Heaven's Metal magazine, as well as a former writer for White Throne magazine when we were in publication back in the day. I'm glad you decided to tune in today and check out our latest top 10 songs. We're going to feature on today's show heavy metal's classic heavy metal band, Saint. Saint's been around since 1984. They've released a myriad of classic heavy metal albums, and we're going to discuss our top 10 songs favorites. You know, these are my favorites. Yours might be different, and I always say feel free to post your list in the comments below. And always nice to have some dialogue that way. In the midst of all this COVID-19 stuff, let's talk about something different for a bit and something fun, shall we? But Saint, like I said, they've been around since '84, released that EP, Warriors of the Sun, released a string of records. The only one I don't have is A Perfect Life. And I frankly have never really heard that album. So I can tell you right now, I don't have anything in this. Everybody I've talked to has indicated to me it is not a Saint-sounding album. I'm sure there are some who would beg to differ. But with that, the one thing I wish I still had was my Rotten Records edition. I had a cassette of Warriors of the Sun, and it did have a different mix of Vicars of Fate. I'm going to tell you that right now. There was a vocal effect on Josh's voice. It's not on the EP. Speaking of the EP, it's the 6-song original Warriors of the Sun, 2004. This was the 2011 Retroactive Records remaster. And as a matter of fact, Retroactive has now done another, I believe it's a gold disc. Don't have it yet. But that might be worth checking out for you if you don't have one of the originals here, or I got vinyl around here somewhere. So anyway, Warriors of the Sun, followed up by Time's End, followed up with Too Late for Living, and then I believe The Perfect Life, that was their last out, the Time's End. Too Late for Living, going a little fast. Too Late for Living came out in 88 and 89, 88. And The Perfect Life did not come out till the 90s, I believe. Again, don't have that one. I do have the re-record that I got for Warriors of the Sun, as well as a retroactive reissue. And they added 2 more songs into this. Those were older songs that, as I understand it, were not recorded prior. And the version of Destroyers that's on there is different than the version of Destroyers that's on the Time's End album. And then after that became In the Battle, the original, and then the reissue. And then there was another record called The Mark that came out in '06, I believe. That was... And I'm just putting this one here at this point, but it was remixed in the summer of 2011 and reissued, now called The Revelation. Probably the heaviest Saint album across the board. In '08 came Crime Scene Earth. This is the 2.0 version. There is an Armor Records version. I don't have that. I have the retroactive follow-up. Different artwork. I also believe there was some remastering and maybe some remixing or re-recording done. And then one of their all-time greats, Hellblade, followed up with Desperate Night. Then Broad is the Gate. And then their current album came out just this year, early this year, late last year, The Calf. A great classic heavy metal album. But I want to talk about the top 10 songs. Sorry, it took us 5 minutes to get to the top 10 songs, and I will focus on the top 10 songs. Coming in at number 10, off of the In the Battle album, the song Riders. It's a great song. It's about 6 minutes long, a little longer than most Saint tracks. Pretty epic in scale with a great, memorable chorus. The vocals from Josh sound phenomenal. It's got an excellent melody, and it's a song I remember when I listened to that album first, when I got it back in the day, and then I got to that song. I was like, Moses is pretty good. I got to that track, and I'm like, man, what a great song. Great song. Coming in at number 9 from the Calf album, the current release. Yeah, made it into my top 10. The final closing track, God is God. It starts off with this acoustic guitar intro and then just kicks in to a blistering heavy metal song. God is God. A great song off the current Saint album. Coming in at number 8, and I'm going to pull something right now. I actually had this video recorded, and I had a different song here at number 8. And I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to put a different song in here. I'm going to make a note. So, sorry. This is called On the Fly. We're going to take this song out, and it'll come back in as a honorable mention at the end. There are several songs that are so close here. I mean, this list could change next week. But coming in at number 8, off of that 2004 Warriors of the Sun re-record, the song The Reaper. It sounds like, if you're not familiar with Saint, they sound like old school Judas Priest a lot of times. The Reaper sounds like old school Judas Priest. I mean 1976, 1977 Judas Priest. That song is heavy, and Josh Kramer kills it on the vocals on that. It's just I don't know why it wasn't put on the original EP to begin with, but it's a great song. The Reaper comes in at number 8. Number 7, New World Order from the Hellblade album. When Saint are at their best, to me, the songs are memorable. They have great melody, and you just want to hear them over and over and over. And New World Order is one of those songs. Great structure, great melody, and New World Order comes in at number 7. Number 6, off of the original Warriors of the Sun EP, Legions of the Dead. A great song, pretty upbeat. Most of the songs, it seemed like on Warriors of the Sun, were that mid-tempo kind of, traditional metal vibe. Plan 2, Time's Wasting, Legions of the Dead, the title track, but Legions of the Dead, just it's up. It's up. Did I say Legions of the Dead was a slower song? No, it's not. It's a more upbeat song like Vicars of Fate. And great riff on Legions of the Dead. Great lyric. And I used to play that EP in 1984 all the time. I have a cassette of it. I used to have the original Rotten Records cassette, which I wish I still had a copy of somewhere. Long gone. And yes, Richard, there are some songs on there sound different than on the Murata version of the EP. Just saying, they do. But Legions of the Dead comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, the title track from the second Saint album, Time's End, kicks off with the drummer counting time, which I believe, actually, side note, was the drummer for Quarter Flash, if I remember correctly. Drummer for Quarter Flash played all the drums on the Saint album, Time's End. And the song Time's End itself, it's heavy. It's got a great guitar solo, great bass lines from Richard Lynch in that song. And it's got this cool story. So instead of Rick from The Walking Dead waking up and it's the zombie apocalypse, it's maybe you waking up and the rapture has happened. and we're in Time's End. Great song. It's all just a great heavy song from Saint on that. Coming in at number 4 off of Too Late for Living, Star Pilot. Everyone pick up, everyone put on your gear. Stormcraft approaching. Kind of a science fiction metaphor for the spiritual battle that we're in. It's heavy, it's upbeat, great guitar playing there from Dean Harrington, and Star Pilot. What else can I say off of Too Late for Living? Coming in at number 3, also off of Time's End. Great riff, great solo, Primed and Ready. What else? It's a great song. It's got a killer hook. Stellar guitar playing from John Mahan. Great vocal. Everything about that song. It's, you go from the song Time's End right into Primed and Ready. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's heavy. It's memorable. You'll be singing that song by the end. Fist pumping all the way. Coming in at number 2, off of the Hellblade album. Yes, the Hellblade album, it ranked that high for me. But this song in particular, To the Cross. Double kick, a great riff, great vocal from Josh Kramer on that. And it's solid. It's Saint in 2010. It's heavy duty traditional metal. You'll be singing it, and a lot of you are probably going back going, I don't remember that song. Go back and play it. Absolutely brilliant track off of the Hellblade album for me. Comes in at number 2. Now, my number 1 Saint album has been my number 1 Saint album ever since this record came out. It will always be, I think, my number 1 Saint song. Sorry, did I say album? I meant song. And that is from the Too Late for Living LP, Through the Sky. Double kick from John the Machine Perrine. A stellar guitar solo from Dean Harrington. Great bass playing. An unbelievable vocal performance from Josh Kramer on that. It's heavy. It's not thrash metal. Speed metal to the core. And it is heavy. To me, in my opinion, the heaviest Saint song ever written. It's got a great hook, and it just builds all the way through that song. And it shreds. Absolutely fantastic. Through the Sky, my number 1 Saint track of all time. How about some honorable mentions? How about the song I pulled out here at the last minute? Some of you may disagree, but the title track off the Desperate Night album. What a great song. A great song by Saint, featuring the vocal performance, albeit his vocals in Saint were short-lived. His name just kind of eludes me here, so I'm going to pull this real quick so I can find it, but that's Brian Phil Miller. I really like Broad as the Gate. I thought it was a great album. They shot a video for it, and I'm not sure why he left the band or what happened, but that Broad as the Gate, often overlooked. And I'll say this, those of you that keep complaining that Josh Kramer is not in the band, get over it. Josh, he doesn't live in Oregon, as I understand it. So especially when they recorded this last record, the vocals on this from, sorry I don't have your name down, David Nelson, the vocals on The Calf, oh, absolutely top drawer, top notch. Speaking of The Calf, that song itself, honorable mention. Stormy Night, honorable mention. How about Vicars of Fate off of the EP? Or the song Hellblade? Or The Blade? End of the World, Desperate Night, I mentioned, it's in was there Crucified, We Will Fight. There's so many great songs. And off of Time's End, this song, when I'm looking back through it, I know some of you are going, how could you not have this song in your top 10, and that is Space Cruiser. I mean, really? In the Night. Oh my goodness. Great opening. Steel Killer, which was originally about submarines in World War II. Yeah, I had a conversation with John Mahan about that eons ago, and that's what he told me. Phantom of the Galaxy, just Space Cruiser. In the Battle, Star Pilot Return, Sacrifice, Holy Rollin', great stuff. Off of Too Late for Living, Accuser, the title track, Too Late for Living. There are so many great songs. And sorry I couldn't get them all in here. The only album really for me that, even though it was super heavy, it just didn't have a lot of memorable stuff, in my opinion, was really The Revelation. There's some great stuff on here, but it just wasn't always that memorable to me. Crime Scene Earth, with their cover of the Judas Priest song Invader. Got to get that. Terror in the Sky, Everlasting God. Just stellar. Stellar. All the way around. We'll have to do a top 10, maybe top 10 Saint albums. Rank those sometime. But, hey, leave your comments in the area below if you would. If you like the channel, subscribe. This video went a little longer than the 15. I was trying to keep them 12 to 15 minutes, so I'm sorry. Hey, we've got more stuff forthcoming. Sacred Warrior, I've got in the works. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. White Throne Metal Radio. Don't forget to check out the Heavens Metal website. You can see those in the links below. Let me know what your top 10 Saint songs are. Thanks again for tuning in, and God bless.